Hello, everyone. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about working smart and not hard, and then also work time versus play time. So, I'll just recount this past semester that I was in university. So, I was going to engineering school, working on 4 classes, and I was also helping my mother run this cleaning business, Expert Cleaning Services, which includes a lot of tasks. And I was also recording an episode in the podcast every week. And I realized that sometimes I'd be working on one task and then receive a notification or an email regarding a different dimension. Let's say I was assigned a homework or a project for school. So I'm working on the project, and then on my computer a notification pops up regarding an email for expert cleaning, and I I really want to continue working on school, but then all of a sudden I see that email where it's like, oh, this is kind of urgent. I should really solve this problem. Or I get a text from an employee regarding a question, an important question regarding their pay or something. And I'm like, I don't want to let that go. And so I would have this battle in my mind, like, what should I do? What's more important? And I typically go to quick solve that business problem if it was urgent. But then the instant I start to solve that business problem, I think of all the 30 other things I could do regarding business, and it would it would sidetrack me. I'd sometimes spend 15, 20, 30, 2 hours, who knows how long, working on business, solving whatever problem just occurred with my mom or by myself. And I was like, oh yeah, I was trying to get some schoolwork done. I guess I'll quick do that now. And I found that being that scattered made it really hard for me to be as efficient as I could. I still had pretty solid efficiency this semester due to all the things I had to do. I knew I was on a time crunch, so I got my stuff done quickly. But I feel like things could have been improved, and and I and there's some science behind focusing single-handedly on a task and locking yourself in a room and working only on this task, thinking only about this subject, whether that be school, work, whatever. And the highest quality of work gets done and the most amount of work gets done. So I found that very true. So I actually turned off the notifications for email on my computer, threw my phone underneath my bed or underneath a pile of books so that I don't touch it for a good hour. And I found that my ability to get schoolwork done or projects done was way better. I wasn't sidetracked. I realized that it can wait. I might as well shred this right now, get this homework done, and in in an hour or two, I can solve all the business problems and focus single-handedly on that. Because it goes the other way. Like if I was trying to solve some business problems over here, but then I'm like in my mind, I'm like, oh, this assignment's due. Oh, this assignment's due. Your mind isn't able to fully focus on work, and I found that getting one thing done at a time. Okay, I'm going to shred my schoolwork right now so that when I'm doing my work, it's not in my mind. And I think that has been so very useful. And I happen to be in an environment where I'm surrounded by 2 other uh, business owners who I live with, and they say that they go through the same problem. They're working on schoolwork, but then they get a business call or they get a business notification, and the instant that happens, snap. Oh man, there's so many things I could solve, so many work related items to complete. And but while that's really good that there's multiple axioms that you're needed and multiple things that you could be doing, it's also somewhat detrimental when you're trying to get work done, schoolwork or work. And I actually I found this very useful. Google Chrome is what I use. I know Chrome is like, it's a great service, but they collect so much data about you that they know you almost more than you know yourself, and it's kind of sketchy and kind of scary. But I think Chrome I think Chrome is the best service. It's the most convenient, and I use it. So I've actually broken down my tasks into different Chrome profiles. My regular email is related to work. Is related to school and yeah, mainly school. And so because that's how I log into my school portal to get homework done. And and then I have another profile for the podcast. It's just a separate email, so it just when I open up that window, there's only tabs regarding podcasts responsibilities. And then I have another one regarding work, my work email, and only tabs that I use typically for work show up. And I found that I'm able to single-handedly focus on just that one task at a time, have different windows open or open up a different window when I'm ready to switch responsibilities. And I find that super, super useful because I used to have just one Chrome profile and have just like 30 tabs with so many different tabs regarding each different responsibility, and it was so easy to be like, okay, I'm getting this thing done, and it's like, I forgot to do this thing, and you just get sidetracked. And like just as I was journaling today, like I every Friday is normally my day to journal/record an episode for this podcast, and not always, but that's kind of been the habit that I've formed. And I have a few notebooks, one for podcast, a few for school, and one for work. And apparently, I made a mistake last week and wrote a few work notes in my podcast journal. And I was journaling in this podcast notebook, writing down all my thoughts for this episode that I'm speaking on today. And then I flipped the page, and I'm like, oh, here's a list of things I still need to do. And then I started to be like, okay, oh wow, I should do this. And I was about to open up my work Chrome profile to start doing them. And then I was like, no, this is just so ironic. It's crazy how your mind just switched in just one little cue. You just saw that and your mind's like, oh, I should get stuff done. And so yeah, I think it's really useful, like I've been saying, to designate certain time periods or different days to do different responsibilities, and also make it so that we're such visual creatures. Sometimes on my desk I'll have papers and different books, some regarding work, some regarding personal, some regarding podcast, and I found that when I have them kind of sprayed out like that, I can't focus on one thing. It's impossible. And so that's where I recommend what I've been saying is break up your responsibilities into different categories so that, okay, I've got to, let's say you go to work or you work, I don't know, you work somewhere and, okay, I'm going to have a work profile and then a personal profile, because sometimes if you have a work and personal kind of combined, you'd be like, oh, I'm getting some work done, but then you're like, oh, a YouTube video, and you just get sucked into a YouTube video for 30-20 minutes or a rabbit hole, and all of a sudden you're like, man, I was supposed to get work done, and then you trail back and you're like, wow, all it took was that one little visual cue of a YouTube notification to pop up, and then all of a sudden, wow, I'm really interested in that. And sometimes this will happen to me, and like if I'm going to bed and I'm like, oh, I should quick set my alarm or make sure it's set, and I go to set my alarm and then I see like a few notifications regarding maybe school, work, or podcast, because my phone is it has all three of those emails on here, so I see emails from all of those, and I'm like, or I see a notification regarding YouTube or who knows, and then 10 minutes or more will fly by, and then I was like, oh, I was supposed to be going to bed. I was supposed to set my alarm. And this is where I'm like, maybe I should just get a real alarm clock like people in the past. It's probably way smarter than having this distraction-filled device completely reopen different parts of my brain that I was trying to close down and shut off for the night. And But I think it's just something to be aware of, that we can be so easily distracted, and setting up your environment so that certain responsibilities and cues are located in certain areas and others are located in other areas. So that if you're like, okay, I want to get this type of work done, I'm going to walk this direction and open up this binder and open up this journal, and okay, this is where I can fully focus. All the other cues that could distract me are closed. My phone is put in a different area. My notifications are turned off. Now I'm going to do deep work, as Cal Newport would say. I'm going to spend as much time focusing single-handedly on this, and this work is going to get done quickly, and it's going to be done well, and it's going to add value to the world and to myself. And I sometimes fall into the habit of thinking that, oh, I got this done on this responsibility, this done over here, this done over here, this done over here. And it's like back and forth, all different kinds of boxes being checked off different lists throughout the day. When in reality, if I would have just focused on one list at a time and just check, yep, check, I feel like my work would have been better and I would feel more accomplished. Whereas sometimes, some days, I felt like I go in circles, do one thing, then another thing, then another thing. And you feel really busy when that occurs, because you're like, oh, I got all kinds of things done. I could list them. It would take a minute for me to list all the things that I did. But then if you really add it up, it's like, your quality of work was just lower and your efficiency was lower due to that fact of you switching back and forth between work, personal, school, all kinds of different things. And that's just something I'd recommend. Every week I record something that's on my mind, and this week I didn't have school because my semester just ended, and I was like, I have more time to focus on the two tasks I want to focus on, which is podcast and work, and also familial and friend and, other things too. So still multiple dimensions, but removing that one school dimension has allowed me to honestly focus more heavily on work without being distracted or thinking of school, and then work on the podcast without being distracted by school. But I do know that when school starts up again, I'm going to use these methods that I've thought of and that other people have thought of, which is just compartmentalizing. Okay, this responsibility here and this one here, and I'm not going to look over there right now. It's not worth it. I'm just going to get this stuff done, because if I look over there, this stuff's going to be left behind, and then I'm going to be spread thin. And when you're spread thin, it's like I've said like 3 times this episode already, your work is going to just be lower quality along all of the things that you're spread thin among. Okay. Next, there's this phrase that is pretty common, or my parents would say it, and I've heard a lot of people say it, which is work hard, play hard. And honestly, I'm a huge fan of this mindset, because it takes a lot of hard work to have the freedom to have a lot of free time and fun. And so this is what I typically do. When I wake up, I have multiple responsibilities regarding work, school, podcast, etc. I want to get these things done. Otherwise, if I don't get them done, when I'm trying to relax at the end of the day and talk with my friends, I might still be a little stressed out and anxious and annoyed that I didn't get things done or whatever. And I found that it's really worth it to try to check off the things that you wanted to check off, and then at a certain time in the day, you unplug from work, unplug from school, and you say, okay, I've gotten my things done that I wanted to get done or that I could get done, and now I'm going to hit the gym. This is my personal experience. At 6 p.m., I typically like to hit the gym because the sauna at my gym closes at 8, and I want to get a good workout in for an hour and a half or so, and I want to hit the sauna and then take a cold shower. The heat stress and the cold stress, it does wonders on my mindset. I could get into that. I want to do an episode on each one of those later, maybe bring my roommates on. But either way, what I was saying is, at that time of 6 p.m., unplugging from work, and even if I do see an email, I'm like, I will answer it tomorrow. There's no doubt about it. I'll get it done. Take a deep breath, Harley. Enjoy the moments that you're having with your friends, with your girlfriend. Stop stressing about work, because now, guess what? Your quality of work is now decreasing in your relationships if at the time when you've designated for relationships, you're still trying to get work done. And that's not what you want. You don't want to be someone who holds business and work above relationships. And so I'm talking to myself here, but also to anyone. So I found that it's really useful to take that time for personal time to remove yourself from work, because I feel like you can burn yourself out if you're working 24/7 and not ever having time to talk with people or just be alone and watch a show, or I don't know, whatever you like to do in your free time. If you there's a balance to it all, but you don't want to sit on and watch Netflix all day long. Whenever I do that, I feel like trash. I don't remember the last time I did that, because I can barely watch for more than like 30 minutes. But so I'm kind of too far on the balance of work, work, work. But like I keep saying, attempting to unplug from work and do whatever you enjoy. I guess Netflix isn't the best example for me, because I don't enjoy it that much. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy having people over and just explaining what the day was like and asking them questions. That's my favorite thing about life, and that's what I like to do once 6 p.m. or later rolls around after the gym. And so I think that work hard, play hard mindset is really useful, because you got to work really hard in order to play really hard. And why not, when you're in your play mode, have quite a lot of fun and don't think about work. It's not worth it. There's been so many times where I've been hanging with my girlfriend or with my friends, and then I'm like, something gets brought up that puts me in the, oh man, I should really do this. Oh, and it's like, it's okay. I have this list on my phone. Like, I open it up and it's this notes widget, so I don't even have to open the notes app. I can just start typing on my home screen, and there's this. It works for Android, probably not Apple, but that's okay. And you can do it on an Apple phone notes, no problem. But what I do sometimes in that environment is where it's play and not work, but someone brings up a great idea for me to write down, for me to think about or do another day, and I'll just go into my notes, type it, and then close my phone if I don't get distracted, that is, and then move on with the discussion that was being had. And then I know that the next day or the next, I'll be scrolling through that notes section and remember why I wrote it down and get it done. And it's better than, oh, someone mentioned something when we're all talking as a group and having a good time. Oh, I'm going to leave and get this done right now. It's like, that's not useful. Now your relationships are suffering, and now the time that you had set away for enjoying with your roommates is now cut off. And then that's not what you want. So this is mainly Harley talking about his experience when it comes to trying to balance the work and play, and when to stop one and when to start the other, and it's been an interesting journey. And I think going to school and working at the same time has really helped me with my efficiency and like dutifulness, getting something done on time, managing different deadlines, and not being caught slacking, because I can think of times where if I don't have as much work to do and I just have a school assignment for the day, I will procrastinate it. I'll be like, okay, I have 10 hours to do one thing. Oh, I could push it off a little bit. Oh, I don't need to do it right now. I could check some social media. Oh, I could check Snapchat. Oh, I could do whatever. I could do some things that I want to do before I do things that I have to do. And this is my problem also. regarding the work and play balance. I'm the kind of person, like I was saying a little bit ago, that if I'm trying to designate a time for play, but I have something that I've been pushing off and I didn't do that I should have, I'm going to be in a worse mood and I'm just going to be annoyed that I didn't do it. And I I probably will do it the next day, but that whole time during the time of just unplugging, I might still be a little annoyed at myself. So I've tried my best to hedge against that because I know how conscientious I am. I'm pretty high in conscientiousness, which is good, but it also has its drawbacks. Like I keep saying, I get very annoyed at myself when I don't get things done that I should. And so that's why each day I have this list of things where it's like, get this done so you don't get annoyed at yourself later and so that you can truly relax and unplug. And not always does that list get done, but there normally is a good hierarchy of things in that list, and there's like a good important 2, 3, or 4 things that you're like, these need to get done today. And you're like, and I'm like, okay, get them done. It's so much more worth it to get these things done and then be able to have peace of mind. Oh, wow, I can just truly sit back, relax, because the things that I wanted to do, I got done. I got them done correctly, well, on time, and I don't have to worry about them being rushed or them being low quality or me having to redo them. And that is one of my favorite things to have in my mind when I'm relaxing. And so I guess these are all just recommendations slash ideas slash all just a lot of thoughts on time management and just habits when it comes to getting work done and then switching to play mode. And I'd like to hear what you guys' ideas are when it comes to working hard and then playing hard. How do you balance that? What's a good balance? And do you think I'm too far on one side or the other? If you have any ideas for me, let me know. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much for listening to the Harley Seelbinder Podcast. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let's keep making the world a better place, one deep, important conversation at a time. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.